Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show.
Hello and welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Orlando, Florida. It has been quite a few months since we recorded, so we have a lot of news to cover. Tiana's Bayou Adventure opened, new Lightning Lane system happened. I went on a Disneyland trip that I'm going to review, all of the Epic Universe announcements, all of the Halloween Horror Nights announcements, and so much more. As you guys notice, I am actually moving soon, so I already packed my microphone, so I'm going to have to speak through this pen, so sorry if my audio isn't as good on this particular episode. But anyways, I'm Tommy. The other guy's Tristan. How you doing?
Hey, I am not moving for once. I have
You're
moved
not
eight
moving.
times in this beautiful sunshine state, but I'm not moving now. So I have my
Oh, good
regular
for you.
microphone.
Good
Yep,
for you.
I'm doing well. It's been a hot minute. My excuse for every single episode that we record nowadays is that I was traveling, which I was. In fact, since the last time we've
Yep.
recorded, which was in March, I have been
Mhm.
to Maryland, Pennsylvania,
Wow.
Virginia, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, Nevada, Hoover Dam, Nevada, and Arizona, and the Grand Canyon in
Wow.
Arizona. So
When you were in Pennsylvania, was that for WrestleMania 40? Because I think that happened before, like after our last recording.
no, it sure was not for that. It was
Okay.
actually just for some tourist things. My parents and I
Okay.
actually took a nice little family vacation.
Oh,
We knocked out
nice.
Maryland, which was, let me see, what's that battlefield in Maryland? Antietam um,
Okay.
battlefield, and then from there it was to our hotel in Virginia. We also went to, I think, an Air and Space Museum in Virginia. We went to Washington, D.C. for 3 days, 4 days, something.
Nice.
Did everything in D.C. And then Pennsylvania was actually a Cubs versus Pirates game, which the Cubs won. Go Cubs. So um,
Go Cubs, bro.
that was that trip. And then the other places I listed were actually I just got back from a few days ago, which was Las Vegas, the Hoover Dam, the Grand Canyon, and then a Star Trek convention in Las Vegas. So half that trip was my girlfriend and my friend from work, and the other half was my dad. So I got two
That's
Vegas trips
awesome.
in one. Um,
So you got a trip. And I actually went on vacation in between our recordings this time too. Like I feel like I haven't been doing as much traveling, but got to go to Disneyland. I'm very excited to talk about that later in the episode.
hey, all right.
Yeah, because I have not been since 2019. And when I went in 2019, it was for like a day and a half. This time I had like basically a week. It was great. Um,
Yeah, that's good. It's you definitely need more time to do. If you're gonna fly all the way out here, you might as well
exactly.
spend your time. Um, excellent.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, we have a lot of ground to cover because it has
Yeah.
been several months. So we got a lot of
Yeah.
news to cover.
Yeah.
So
Where do we even begin?
let's you know what? Let's start over at the Magic Kingdom.
Magical
With the
Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom's newest attraction. And from there, we're actually going to talk about one of Magic Kingdom's oldest attractions. But we'll start with the new first, which is, of course, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which has
Yeah.
opened to much fanfare. And I'm
Mhm.
going to just lay it out on the line right now. I liked that attraction.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. I went into it very nervous because, considering what they did from Maelstrom to Frozen Ever After, I wasn't very impressed. And Splash Mountain is just such a classic ride. It already had all of the critics bashing it before like it even opened and everything. But I'm just like, let them cook. Like, let's see what happens. And I actually went on one of the first preview days where they were having all the problems. And basically from checking in to everything, I probably waited like 3 or 4 hours to finally get on the ride. And honestly, it was so worth it. And granted, by the time we got on, it was during Happily Ever After, and we were doing the final drop with the finale of Happily Ever After. So that was my first ride on Tiana's. But like, I was really impressed. The music with the ride works really well. The animatronics really, it was really cute. It was very, very charming.
Yes, I agree. They
Yeah,
um they
yeah,
they utilized all the space in that building as well as they could have.
yeah,
Loved the theming, like you said, loved the music.
yeah.
Really liked everything about it. The fun little effect, no spoilers here, but there is a little bit of an effect that
Mhm.
brings you into the um, Bayou world at one point. So it's one of those
Yeah,
things where you change size in the story. So the way they bring you in and out of that, I thought was really neat.
Mhm.
And it actually was a little bit more thrilling. The specific part I'm talking about. I feel like they made it a little bit
Yeah.
darker. Um, so it was like, wow. Even though I've ridden that ride with the same exact ride path a million times.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, it's literally the same ride, just a different theme.
yeah,
And they did a great job.
I
I really
loved it.
liked it.
I loved it. I also
Yeah.
got to do one of the preview days. Now it was down for a lot
Mhm.
of that. It was not working. I just kept my eye out and my ear open for when it popped back up. So I ended up not really standing in line for all that long for it, which was nice. Got to spend some time
Yeah.
the rest of the Magic Kingdom. But overall, love
Gotcha.
Tiana's Bayou. I think me and you both manifested that we were going to like it on the show, and we
Yeah.
both liked it. So
Yeah. Although funny enough, that I got to go to a second preview, walked right on and had my own log with my girlfriend. It was great.
hey, that is
But
nice. Good for you.
yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
that'll never happen again.
No, it will not. It will not. But
Yeah.
gosh, that's awesome. But just as we talked about Magic Kingdom's newest attraction, we're going to talk about Magic Kingdom's one of its oldest attractions and how it is now ruined, and that is the Country Bear Jamboree.
They do it, my boy.
I do believe that's a 1971 attraction right there, and
Yeah.
it lasted for as long as it did, and I thought it was going to live forever. And then they just filled it with IPs. And I was, you know what? When I first heard that Try
Yeah.
Everything was in it, I was like, okay, that's fine. But then I heard they actually like got rid of all the original.
Yeah. They got rid of all the charm. Now, I will say musically the covers are done very well. However, they took away all the charm from that attraction.
Yeah.
Like, where's the all the guys that turn me on, turn me down? And sorry, but I'm gonna. So, Coco is one of my favorite movies. Um, when, in the movie, I'm about to just spoil Coco. When he starts, wait, you've seen it, right? I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I'll spoil
Yeah,
it for everyone else.
I've seen it.
But, at the end of Coco, when he sings "Remember Me" to Mama Coco, like Niagara Falls, Big Al comes out and sings "Remember Me." I was so livid. I was so angry. They took away blood on the saddle. They took away all the guys that turned me on, turned me down. You know, why would I even go to that attraction anymore?
You want to know
You
how
know?
I know you're very emotionally invested in this? You just cursed twice and didn't even catch yourself doing it.
God. I
Uh-huh.
I forget that we're on a family show sometimes. So I
No,
don't
but
remember which words I used.
I am with you though. Don't worry. No one listening to this will know what word you used. But
Probably.
no, I agree because to me what I loved about that
Yeah.
attraction was the obscurity of it. It was
Yeah.
one of those you go in and you're like, wow, this is a
Yeah.
little out there. Um,
Yeah.
but it was harmless. It was harmless. It wasn't politically incorrect. It didn't have anything to do with things that got canceled, as far as I know. I mean,
Yeah.
they seem like
Now,
racist bears, but they never said it.
now I think Liver Lips McGraw, apparently Liver Lips is like an old school racial slur or
Mm,
something like that. That I did not know about, which, you can change him to Romeo and keep the old show.
yeah.
Um, but
But have you seen his lips though?
um, yeah, yeah. Um, also, how many shows need You've Got a Friend in Me in part of your world? Like, how many times are we going to see that in, like, be original?
Yeah.
Now, I will say the new opening song for Country Bears is actually pretty good. Like
Okay.
the Country Bear Jamboree song that they open up with is really good. I will give them that.
Good for them.
Yeah.
So
But anyway,
it is what it is. Um, I cling to things in the Magic Kingdom like I want them to stay forever
Mhm.
because I look at Disneyland and I look at how much
Yeah,
original stuff they have a lot of new stuff. They've tweaked a lot, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. But to me,
yeah.
when you walk through Disneyland and you see how much stuff is still there from Walt's time, some of it even
Mhm.
1955, and you're
Oh my
like,
God, yeah,
how come we tear everything down and rebuild it in Florida, but they get to
yeah,
keep things over there.
yeah. Like it has so much charm over there. I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but charm. I like my
Charm.
charm,
hmm Always after
charm,
me,
charm,
Lucky Charms. But what we're talking more about
charm and ultra.
Disneyland a little
Less is
bit,
more.
a little bit later. Charmin Ultra. Okay. Um,
I don't know where that came from.
I don't know either, but it was clever. I liked it. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's that. A little bit of unfortunate news over there. But hopping still into the Disney realm of things, big old change came to Disney's Lightning Lane and Genie Plus service, and I think it
Hmm.
is for the better. Tommy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the changes that they did make are for the better. I'm like, now that the genie's out of the bottle with having a paid fast pass service
Ha!
at Disney, it's always going to be charged. It's not going to be free ever again.
Yeah.
Um, I, I mean, my thoughts haven't changed about Genie Plus, about Lightning Lane, about how I don't like how you have to pay for a service and like you're not even guaranteed to get on all the rides, and that it can cause confusion for guests still, where, someone might come to the park not knowing how it works, then they'll buy it, and then they don't realize until that point that they can't get on anything or as many things as they would have liked. Which I think is a bigger problem at Disney World. At Disneyland has a lot more attractions and they don't experience that issue. And I mean, I guess now that you can book stuff in advance, I do like that in this that like, you don't have to be on your phone too much. Um, but yeah.
Yeah, here's my thing. When I first heard that the original rollout of Lightning Lane and Genie Plus, that yeah, the individual purchases, how you can pay to ride Rise of the Resistance or something for like $20, $22, who knows.
Hmm.
I thought that's insane. But
Hmm.
then, that's only because I'm a local and I visit the parks a lot, to where I don't think of things in a time management way. I don't think about the most
Yeah,
efficient use of my time, because I can do this stuff whenever I want. But I
exactly.
I have utilized it since then, and from a time management in the park standpoint, getting through Rise in like, you know 30 minutes is kind of like, oh, I have a lot more time in my day now to do whatever, and it
Yeah.
only costs like, so to me sometimes $20, that's actually kind of worth it. So
I was gonna say when I was at Disneyland back in May before all the changes, my girlfriend and I, we actually did do Genie Plus all the days, and we did get individual lightning lanes for Radiator Springs Racers just because that ride is incredible, and that was very worth it. But
yeah, absolutely.
and I
See,
don't get to
I
do it all
think
the time.
it feels so nice to be able to, yeah, you spend a little bit of money, maybe you spend it ahead of time, so you know how when you make a
Yeah,
purchase a long time ago,
yeah,
it doesn't feel like you paid for it when it comes. It's
hmm
like that, then you just walk right on and you're like, oh, look at me. But
yeah,
I have some details here, very
hmm
briefly, if anyone's not familiar. Replacing Genie Plus, this system closely resembles the old FastPass Plus system, which everyone is comparing it
hmm
to the original FastPass Plus, obviously
hmm
with charges. Resort guests
yeah,
make selections 7 days in advance, 3 days for non-resort guests. Attraction tiers are back. I actually liked the attraction tiers thing. Call me crazy.
hmm
Um, Guests can make three
yeah,
selections per day with the ability to make more selections day of after one selection is redeemed. Also, very similar to Fast Pass. Certain attractions are still available for a single pass purchase, including Tron Seven Dwarfs, Rise, Flight of Passage, and Cosmic Rewind. Those are all the basic bullet points I collected here, but check
hmm
the Disney website for all the crazy
hmm
rules about it. But overall, I think this is a step above what we had before.
No, it definitely is, and honestly, even just from a name perspective. It's just Lightning Lane multi-day, or it's either just Lightning Lane multi-pass or Lightning Lane single pass instead of the Genie Plus, where you can book your Lightning Lanes or your individual Lightning Lane. It just it honestly felt like they didn't fully flesh it out.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree. I think it was a
like it sounded like yeah,
hasty decision made by a former CEO of ours, and
correct.
so this kind of seemed like this was Bob Iger fixing what he can. Now I'm not giving him all, this couldn't have, but
Yeah,
maybe this wasn't his idea. But
yeah,
like, in terms of the direction the company is going, Chapek came in and did a whole
yeah,
bunch of stuff, and I feel like a lot of it
yeah,
was irreversible. So introducing a paid fast
yeah,
pass thing, I don't think you could go back on as a company. But I think with
yeah,
this, they did their best.
yeah,
My 2 cents.
yeah.
But yeah, that's what I have about that. Just big,
Mhm.
once again, another big change with how guests can experience the attractions at Disney. I have my bullet points a little out of order here. I'll stay at Disney World
Yeah.
for the next 2 bullet points here. But first, actually, both of these are what they consider to be the wilderness region of Walt Disney World. First little bullet point: new permits for the Paused Reflections Hotel near Fort Wilderness. That is the Reflections, a
Ooh,
lakeside lodge deluxe resort that was going to be on the shores of Bay Lake by Fort Wilderness, where River
okay.
Country used to be. And River Country sat there for over a decade, maybe 2 decades, before they
Hmm.
finally tore it down to build this resort. And then this resort got paused for years.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see that some new permits are coming out and it's not going to be River Country 2.0 and just sit there abandoned
Yeah.
for who knows how long. So I'm excited for that because it looks to be really cool. It to
Hmm.
me, this is just my opinion. It seems like it's almost a mix of the Polynesian, not with Polynesian theming, but the vibes of the
Hmm.
Polynesian and Wilderness Lodge, but with some unique touches. I think Princess and the Frog was actually going to be a very big
Yeah.
focal point of that, if I remember correctly. But
Yeah.
heck, I
That'd
love
be
that
really
area
cool.
so much. I think that's
Hmm.
going to be really great if it does end up opening.
Yeah.
So that's that. But heading on over to across the pond, but still in the wilderness, we have over at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. Some permits
My
were
favorite
filed.
resort.
Oh, you know what? Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
It's not my side note here. I grew up staying at Pop Century, so all the nostalgia is at Pop Century for me. And I still
Okay.
love going and staying there. Nothing wrong with it. I will defend value resorts every day of the week, but
Oh, yeah, as you
uh,
should.
in terms of theming, I think Wilderness Lodge, Polynesian, and Animal Kingdom Lodge can go head to head, and it's a pretty tough
Yeah.
fight. My favorite is Wilderness Lodge. So I
Yeah.
agree with you,
I
Tommy. But I could
and the
talk about
food.
that at nauseum.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
basically, some permits have been filed for the Cascade cabins at Wilderness Lodge, and those are the Disney Vacation Club exclusive cabins, not to be confused with the new DVC cabins at Fort Wilderness, which have just sprung up. Very nice,
Trash.
refurbished. Okay. To each their own. I saw a vlog of some folks staying in it and it looks quite nice to me, but you know what? You just be a bitter Betty over there, Tommy.
And I will.
I do agree though. The downside of those Fort Wilderness DVC cabins is not that there are less regular cabins for regular folk. And those cabins were a gem. I've stayed in those cabins
Yeah.
once or
Right?
twice,
They were really cute. I
loved
loved it.
them. So
Yeah.
now that they're less available for regular folk and they're more exclusive to DVC, kind of a bummer, but I get it. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, the cabins over at Wilderness Lodge,
Yeah.
which are right along the water, significantly more
Hmm.
scarce than over at Fort. There are only 26 of them, and one of them is actually used as a model cabin. So there's only 25 available cabins along the water at
Ooh,
Wilderness Lodge.
fun
Um,
fact.
they can range anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 a night. I have heard from someone who works there that 2,000 is the minimum per night. Um, so they are very high end. I've done the tour of one of them, so I can tell you that it's how many bedrooms is it?
Wow.
2 bedrooms and a big living room with a pull-out couch and a pull-out like single chair that turns into like the tiniest bed you've ever seen. They can sleep 8 people. It's its own structure. It's literally its own freestanding structure
Yeah.
with a double-sided fireplace in the living room, and you can see it from the lanai or the patio, which is fully screened in. That also has a picnic table and a private spa with music pumped in from the rest of the resort. And during the Magic Kingdom fireworks, they pump in the music from that. Um,
To anyone that can actually afford a vacation in one of those, I hate you. One night in that was how much I paid for my week at Disneyland.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's
or
insane.
at least just the hotel. But
It's insane, but they're very nice.
yeah.
They're also very new, which leads
Oh,
me
they better
into
be.
why I'm kind of surprised if these permits do actually indicate refurbishment on these. Um, that's going to be an inconvenience to the DVC people because I actually will tell you that from what I've heard, they are usually at capacity. They have all 25 of those things booked pretty much all the time,
Wow.
which is incredible. So I'd
Yeah,
be
that is
surprised
so
for
many
that
rich people.
reason, but also because they're so new. They actually opened on July 17th, 2017, which is Disneyland's
Oh,
birthday.
wow.
Um, but so they're very new. They're only about 7 years old. And like I said, the freestanding structures are very nice and very modern. So I don't really know what a refurbishment would do. Um,
Yeah.
but it's an interesting little tidbit there. And not a lot of people even know about those cabins. because they're not really, if you're in the main walking areas of Wilderness Lodge, you may not see them um, very easily. They are actually quite tucked away very well. So anyway, some interesting news out of Wilderness Lodge there. Tommy and I's dual favorite, not dual. Dual's not the right word. What's the right? What's
Yeah.
a mutual favorite
Mutual. Yeah.
of Disney resorts. So interesting stuff there.
Storybook dining at Artist Point, bro.
Oh, I have yet to do that. I've briefly been in the restaurant and it looks beautiful. I've never eaten there. I have eaten at Whispering Canyon several times and Geyser Point several times.
Love Whispering Canyon too.
And
Yeah.
all the food and beverage at Wilderness Lodge is
Oh
fantastic,
my
if you
God.
ask me. The theming is great.
Yeah.
The scenery, it's quaint, it's quiet, it's gorgeous. The water
Yeah.
features, I'm a real sucker for water features. And there's actually some old Disney's Hollywood Studios secrets there. If you go to the recreation center where they can rent out different equipment and things like that, there's a water tower right outside the building. I think
Ooh.
I might say Boulder Ridge, which is a part of the DVC part of the resort, but it's actually the water tower from Catastrophe Canyon at the backlot tour. So, fun fact, because that part of the resort actually
That's
opened
fun.
right after backlot tour closed. So they just moved it on over. But there's lots of fun history there. Oh, and the train room. Don't get me started on the Carolwood room in the Boulder Ridge building. Whole train themed room. It's got two of Walt's personal train cars from his backyard railroad in there. Super quaint. I actually used to go sit in there if I had a day off or something. I'd go sit in that room and work on this podcast just because it's so lovely. But I've talked about Wilderness Lodge for like 4 minutes now, so I love that place so much. We're gonna do one more Disney bullet point before we hop on into the to the other side of Orlando, and that is
Orlando.
one of the newest Disney cruise ships, not yet open, obviously, has floated out of its shipyard in Germany. That is the Disney Treasure. So that has floated out. It's going to be on its way to the U.S. Probably Florida, if I had to guess. I don't remember where its maiden voyage is, but it's December of this year. So Disney Treasure, Disney Cruise Line, super exciting time right now with the Wish just coming out. Treasure is almost here. And then the Adventure, I think, is going to be the Asian exclusive one, and the Destiny, which they have also just announced as well. So lots of fun stuff there. You got to go. I said every other. You got to go on the Disney cruise. They are amazing. But so that's exciting. Disney Cruise Line. They're doing a lot. Oh, and who could forget that their new island destination has opened. I think maybe even since the last time we recorded. So I've heard it's okay. I've heard it's pretty good. It's a crazy walk to get there. If you haven't seen pictures of the pier, they weren't able to dredge into the island like they were for Castaway Cay. So the ship in Castaway Cay gets right there. And it's still a 15, 20, 25-minute walk to get to the beaches from the ship there. But at Lookout Cay, they weren't able to do that. So they had to build a really long pier out to where the ship docks. But other than that, I've heard it's fantastic. So exciting Disney Cruise Line stuff there. So we're going to hop into a universe that you're a little bit more familiar with here, Thomas. So perhaps you can shed some light on, what, we're going to save the best for last. We're going to talk about Ministry of Magic first, because I know you're itching to talk about the other thing. So Ministry of Magic, I have a few details here, but it looks awesome. I'm a Harry Potter fan. So opening universe, epic universe in 2025. It's set in Paris, which I did not know. The land will feature a circus-like theater show, a new wand shop and interactive experiences, roaming entertainment characters, food and beverage restaurants and stands, including another butterbeer stand, of course, and a bar as well. Who could you need a bar in there, and merchandise locations, including a confectionery. So this land's gonna be jam packed. With Harry Potter stuff, which I love. A third Harry Potter land at Universal is phenomenal. I think both their Harry Potter lands are really great. So what do you think about Ministry of Magic?
Ministry of Magic. I'm really excited for the ride that they're going to put there, because they seem pretty excited about it, that they're going to be, they've hyped it up as something very, very unique that is nothing like we've ever seen. So I'm very excited to see what that's all about. And they were hyping that up a few months ago, because I think at the beginning of this year, when they officially announced the names of the lands and everything, they had mentioned, and I think we'll save the Harry Potter one for later because we don't want to ruin anything yet. So they're expecting that one to be a really big deal ride there.
Yeah, super excited. I've been to
Yeah.
Universal in the
Yeah.
little preview center that they
Mhm.
have set up right now, and you see those
Oh my,
giant dolly.
yes. That Epic Universe preview center is so cool.
Hmm.
Like that scale model of the park was way bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah,
And like it just looks so cool.
yeah. I'm
And
definitely
also a
excited.
lot of the merch there, like I it's like I'd feel weird buying merch for a park that hasn't opened yet, but I am probably gonna get that Spirit jersey and backpack before the park opens.
Oh
Just looks
yeah,
so cool.
no.
Yeah.
And my last point on Epic Universe is going to be how I like that they're doing a Universal Monsters, going back to classic film, the
Yeah.
classic
God, I can't wait.
monsters.
Yeah.
Because I'm a big horror fan. But I think
Yeah.
we have another horror thing to talk about
Yeah.
here. What is it,
Which before
Tommy?
I get into that with
Oh,
well, I was gonna go back to Dark Universe just because like all the pretty much all the land announcements happened like during our hiatus. And
oh yeah,
Dark Universe is gonna have like a Frankenstein experiment dark ride that's gonna be kind of similar. It runs similarly to Forbidden Journey, like the castle ride at Islands of Adventure. So it's gonna be that Kuka arm thing. But like that type of ride system with Universal monsters and like animatronics, like it's gonna be so good. That's probably the ride I'm looking forward to the most.
yeah, yeah.
But
It's
as
gonna
you
be awesome.
said, speaking of horror, Halloween Horror Nights, all of the announcements happened during our hiatus, and I feel like they happened in a fun way this year. Because like they spent the first house they announced this year wasn't even an IP. It was the originals. They spent an entire week, every day, a week straight, announcing a new house, all their original houses. So we got Slaughter Cinema 2, so that's cinema with an S-I-N, and it is a sequel to a house from 2018. I never got to experience it, but I heard it's amazing, and they're doing a sequel for it. So obviously it's good. We got Goblin's Feast. We have the one that I'm looking forward to the most, Major Sweets Candy Factory, which is a house based on a scare zone from 2022, which was the first HHN that I went to with a frequent fear pass. Very, very excited for that one. We got the Museum Deadly Exhibits and Monstrous Monsters of Latin America, which was an original house in Hollywood last year, and apparently it won House of the Year in Hollywood. And they're actually doing a sequel to it in Hollywood this year. And then the sixth original house this year, they're doing six originals and four IPs. I think they usually try to go for 5 and 5, but I guess if they lose rights last second or can't get secure something, they usually do 6 and 4, which I think that's a better balance in my opinion. The original houses are usually better, but anyway, Triplets of Terror will be the sixth original house. Um, for the IP houses, we got A Quiet Place, which I'm very, very curious how they're going to pull that off. I love that movie. I still need to see the sequel and the prequel. Um, I'm so curious how they're going to pull that off as a house. So I'm very excited. Got Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, Insidious, and and then the last house, the fourth IP is going to be Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines, which will feature Dracula's daughter. I don't have the list. I should probably get the list, but I know the spec maps. We're calling it Universal Monsters Silver Scream Queens. So, but Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines, just the name of that just sounds sick. Um, but funny enough, before that house and all the scare zones were announced, there was actually a leak that like accidentally revealed all the scare zones, that house, and Nightmare Fuel Nocturnal Circus before it was officially announced. So I was like, ooh, that sounds like legit. And it ended up being legit. So, Tristan, how do you feel about the Horror Nights lineup this year?
Yep, great.
Which one are you most excited for?
Okay, moving on.
Hold on. I also got beef.
What?
Universal Hollywood. They're getting the weekend trilogy house. Because, in 2022 we had the After Hours Nightmare. And this year they're getting a house with After Hours, Dawn FM, and then I think some other album. That was my favorite house that year, and I wish we were getting that in Orlando this year. So I'm jealous of you, Hollywood.
Ooh, wah,
Yeah.
wah. Oh, baby Tommy, wah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sad. But actually, we're gonna stay over in California here, and we have a little bit
Yeah.
of a review here because you took a recent
Yeah.
trip.
That is a great segue. Yeah. So at the beginning of May, I went to Disneyland with my girlfriend. And we actually, because of my employer, I was able to get 50% off at the Grand Californian Hotel. So like 350 a night at the Grand Californian Hotel. Amazing. That that is how you do Disneyland. Having our own entrance to California Adventure, being able to go back for midday naps. Just the location of it, because like California Adventure, Disneyland right across from each other. We're just right there. It was amazing. The day that we flew in, we ended up doing an impromptu half day. Got the cheesy garlic pretzel bread. That is a thing that is incredible at Disneyland. Also went over to California Adventure, rode Incredicoaster, and did Cars Land. Radiator Springs Racers, I think, might be just my favorite ride ever. I'm not even a Cars guy. Like, I don't care for those movies, but that land and that ride, incredible. And then that night, we ate at Napa Rose at the Grand California Hotel. That restaurant ruined food for me. Like it is like $150 per person, four course prefix. There is an a la carte option, but like just the food was so good. It was incredible. Like I'm not gonna have a better meal in my life. Day two, went to Disneyland. My girlfriend surprised me with Walt's Main Street Story, and I almost cried because that was so sweet of her. And for those that don't know, that is a tour of Main Street, and then it takes into Walt's apartment. Sorry, I'm talking fast right now. I just see that we don't have as much time left, so I'm going to try to go fast. But being able to go to Walt's apartment was incredible. I remember the last time I went in 2019, after I came back, Tristan, you told me about going into Walt's apartment. I'm like, man, I got to do that the next time I go. And for some reason, in planning this trip, I just never mentioned it to my girlfriend or figured it out into the plans. Um, but then on the day of, we did a few rides, and she's like, okay, come with me. And I had no idea where she was taking me. We are going towards the front of the park, so I thought she was gonna like take me to a lunch at downtown Disney. Then we were walking by the fire station. I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot about like, booking the tour. Maybe we do that next time. Then she takes me up to the gazebo, two for Walt's Main Street Story. I almost cried right there. I'm about to cry right now. It was incredible. It was so good. And then, we ate at Blue Bayou for dinner, which is the
Oh,
restaurant in Pirates. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't super impressed with the food there, but I did like the ambiance. The food was really good. I think I might need to try something else there.
hmm.
But also I had Napa Rose the night before, which was incredible. Next day, Lamplight Lounge brunch at California Adventure. Best brunch I've ever had. So freaking good. Lamplight Lounge. Eat brunch there. Um, oh, this is also during Pixar Fest that they're doing at Disneyland. So I did the Pixar parade. So cool. So cool. Me and my girlfriend were wearing our Soul Spirit jerseys. The Soul Float gave us a little heart. That was wonderful. Um, just plus all the rides at California Adventure. Love Mission Breakout. Such a fun ride. It is so fun. And we went on it twice and we got Give Up the Funk both times, but that song is like so fun. Like I honestly just laughed both times I got it just because it's so fun. Um, and then World of Color 1. That had no fireworks, and that is better than any of our nighttime shows here in Florida. I loved it that much. It was amazing. I don't want to say give too much away in case people want to be surprised by it, but like there are some things in that show that like really surprised me that I wasn't expecting, and that was cool. Um, fourth day at Disneyland, we ate at Cafe Orleans for lunch, really good food. And then we also saw the Pixar fireworks show, which I wasn't sure what to expect with it, but it was so good. And funny enough, we didn't get to the front of the castle till like 5 minutes before the show started. And we asked the cast member, like, hey, where's like a good spot to find for fireworks? And they're like, wait, is it just you two? And then they sat us in like the dining package seating area. So we got to sit right in front of the castle for it. So incredible magical moment for us. And I feel like I'm not even like talking about a lot of the rides just because I'm assuming everyone knows all the rides that are really good there. Um, Next day we had a rest day and ate at Storytellers Cafe for dinner. Really good because we were staying at the Grand Californian. They do character breakfast, and it's a buffet. Food is really good. We didn't do breakfast, but we did dinner. The food was amazing. Um, Also, the Grand Californian Hotel has this quick service restaurant, the GCH Grill, and they have really good food there for lunch and breakfast. Like for breakfast, I had this like salmon bagel that was, I still dream about it every single day. And then like for lunch, there's these tuna and salmon poke bowls. Also had like a charcuterie pizza option. Um, but that was awesome. Day six, we actually went to Knott's Berry Farm. A
Yeah.
cute little day trip at Knott's Berry Farm, although their best roller coaster was closed that day about it, but it was still a cute little day we had there. Not too bad. Accelerator, the log flume, and Hang Time, I think were my favorite rides there. It was a good time. Uh, and then the next day we flew home. Uh, but yeah, incredible trip. I love Disneyland so much, and I want to go back.
Oh, I'm right there with you. It's been
Yeah,
almost 5.5 years since I've been there, so I gotta get back. But
yeah.
thank you for
No, it was
sharing
my
that
first.
because I was able to relive it a little bit through you. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm going to
It's like
try
I
to.
wish I could have gushed about it a little longer, but
I know. We are crunched. Mother Zoom is going to kick us out of this in 3.5 minutes. So I'm gonna
yeah,
bounce off. I'm hopefully spend 30 seconds bouncing off something you just
yeah.
said. Underrated nighttime spectaculars. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because another thing that happened since we recorded was the new drone show at Disney Springs. I saw it a few
Oh,
weeks
I haven't
ago.
even seen that yet.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Well, first of all, if you like Baymax, you're gonna like it. Second of all, it blew me away. I was like, I
Mhm.
had low standards going into it, and it man, I tell you, I teared up at a
Yeah.
point where they had Wally because I'm a really big Wally fan.
Oh man.
There's a part where they had Wally, so
Mhm.
that was really cool. So I highly recommend that. It is free at Disney
Which
Springs, so go check it out now.
sorry,
Yeah,
because you said Baymax, I totally forgot to mention San Francisco Square. Absolutely loved it, and the quick service there was incredible. There's this
yes.
California roll sandwich that I also still dream about. Amazing food at on Cass Cafe. Anyway, do your thing.
Oh, I'm glad you got to do that. I do not have a
Yeah.
Tristery for this, but I want to quickly plug my friend Forrest. All right. So I actually used to work with this guy, good friend of mine. He has his own YouTube channel called Sizzle Map. I may have talked about it on the channel before, but Sizzle Map, he does all sorts of little docu-series. He does travel vlogs, but he actually does Disney parks documentaries. And his most recent was called, and I'll say it here, Disney Theatrical Productions: An Origin Story, which is about how Disney on Broadway came to be, specifically how it actually spawned from the Beauty and the Beast live on stage show at Hollywood Studios, which was meant to be temporary. And it literally gave
Wow.
birth to Disney on Broadway. So
Wow.
it was so good, so well done. It's racking up the views. He actually sent it to Michael Eisner, and he got a personal response back that Michael Eisner really enjoyed it.
That's awesome.
Um,
That's really
said
cool.
super in detail, super in depth. And Michael Eisner, I think in his message, he even included that he learned a couple things about the process from the video because
That's
he
cool.
did get a lot of people that worked on Disney on Broadway and different things to talk in the video. So anyway, check out Sizzle Map
That's really
on
cool.
YouTube. Phenomenal documentary
Sizzle
style
map.
videos. Sizzle
Awesome.
Map. Having
Yeah.
said that, we have less than a minute and a half left. So I just want to say thank you to our listeners and to
Yeah.
Tommy for the bit of talking into a pen for this entire episode.
Dude, it's my pleasure. I might do it more often. If you guys, if the audio sounds good enough, just let me know and we'll see. Yeah.
Now, other than that, why don't you talk us out into your pen, Tommy?
Awesome. Well, like Tristan said, thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Please Remain Seated. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, good time. Missed you, Tristan.
Missed you too.
Missed
See
that.
you again in
Missed
4
that
months.
handsome face of you. Heck yeah. See you in 4 months.
All right.
Cheers.